welcome to the Professional Media Presence podcast series. Today's episode is a conversation between Milla Järvi-Petäjä from Turku University of Applied Sciences and Karen Briffa, an artist from Malta, one of the PMP artists in residence in Turku.
Hello everybody, my name is Milla Järvi-Petäjä and I'm here with Karen Briffa from Malta, and we are part of PMP project and we are doing a podcast of artistic career, artistic framework, how to be an artist and using media as artist. And now let us hear from our guest Karen Briffa. What sort of art you do nowadays?
Hello, first of all. It's nice to meet you, Milla. My forte is pyrography. Pyrography is an ancient art. It comes back from the Bronze Age, where it started with fire and kind of melting metal and being able to bring some kind of image in the prehistoric times on wood. Obviously, at the time, it used to help humans to either decorate their wood mastery. It also helped to, in our modern way, to itemize certain things too. So fast forward that into today's day and age. It is obviously mostly used as an art. However, not a lot of people embark on this art because of the fact that it is, shall I call it, a slow art, since it entails a lot of shading, a lot of layers of shading, very much like charcoal drawing, but obviously with heat. So if you make a mistake, it is very, very, very difficult to erase the mistake. Whereas with charcoal drawing, obviously, or with pencil drawing, dare I say, with arts, with such arts like oil painting art and water painting art, you can somehow eliminate your mistakes. But with pyrography, the only way of eliminating a mistake would be through sanding of the wood, but it doesn't always prove to be successful. So it can be known to certain artists as a kind of tedious art. But for me, I use it as a therapeutic sort of art, because when I was young also, I was a bit of a pyromaniac when I was young. I used to love fire. I still do. I still love burnt toast. I still love burnt potatoes. So burning is my therapy and my art nowadays. So that is it. My forte is pyrography.
And do you create abstract images with this barbecuing or
yes,
fire?
barbecuing wood?
Or what do you express with the
I like to use at the moment. I was never a person that loved abstract art, to be very fair with you. I've dabbled with it. I don't think I was very successful with it before when I dabbled with it with water paints and with acrylic paints and stuff like that. So I'm not sure that abstract art is my thing, but I like to, since pyrography, or barbecuing as you like to call it, it's a very, very good way of specifying, actually. Since pyrography is more into texturing, I like to show textures of feathers. I like to show. What I do is I go more into portraiture of animals as well as humans. I love to do portraiture on birds, and so that is my real pull at the moment. I've only started it about 11 years ago, So I could change by the time I'm 70, and I could tell you, hey, Mila, you know, I love abstract art, but that's not now, not right now.
And have you experimented different art forms? You mentioned oil painting and watercolors, but are they something that you have tried but not really professionalized with?
No,
Or
exactly, yes. Oil painting is not my thing. I can't. I have oil paints at home, but I think I know. I need to know the chemistry. I am not an artist from university. I'm not a graduate artist, so I have not been taught the ins and outs of certain art media. So I just can't understand oil painting. So unfortunately, although I love to admire all sorts of oil paintings, unfortunately, that's not my thing. Watercolors, yes, I've worked in watercolors. Some were successful, others were totally really wrong, but I didn't throw them away. Who knows? Maybe, you know, I can make something out of them in the future. I love charcoal drawings. I love pencil drawings. I think, in fact, that is why I feel more at home when I do pyrography, because it's all to do with shading. I think that would be it. I don't think I've tried anything else. Oh, I've tried. I like to illustrate. I like to do cartoons, but that also wasn't very successful. It's just a thing, you know, a doodle thing that ends up into a cartoon.
and how did you became an artist? What was your path in becoming an
Oh,
artist?
that was a bit sad. That was a bit of a sad beginning. I was 10 years old, and an artist friend of my parents, who is now considered to be a highly acclaimed national artist, told my parents when they showed him my artwork when I was young, that it's probably just a phase and that I might not take it seriously. And it was a bit of an execution for me, because when I heard what he said, I didn't think about it twice, and I just kept my art to myself. Sometimes I tore it up, sometimes I kept it in a drawer. My childhood artwork actually was thrown away, to be fair. But then let's say, it will have a happy ending, because although I didn't graduate in art, and although I never took art lessons, I always use YouTube and the media, the social media platforms. When I was younger, I also used to use books that I used to like to shop around for. I used to buy at a cheap price, you know, at the flea market. And now it has perfected in pyrography, because about 10 or 11 years ago, I had bought my first pyrography pen. And that is where my art really developed, through the pyrography, because for me it was like a challenge I undertook, just for myself, to be fair, but that I knew I could take forward, kind of thing, you know. So as I said before, it started with a bit of an unhappy start, because my parents never thought twice about sending me to art school and stuff like that. But I became my own art school by using, today we are lucky, we have all forms of platforms that can help us without having to go out there and go to lessons. Um, uh, and so this is my happy ending, or rather the beginning of a happy ending, I guess.
What about working as an artist? I'm based in Finland, and lots of artists kind of struggle to be artists because it's not an easy profession. There are plenty of foundations and systems where you can apply funding, but it's not so certain that you will actually be able to make your living as an artist. And you come from Malta. What do you think the framework to be an artist in Malta is? And what kind of possibilities one has to be a professional artist?
Okay, so Malta is very small. We are 500,000 people, and we are an island. We are the southernmost European country, and it also comes with our advantages and disadvantages. So this also reflects into the artistic world, just like Finland, Milla. People who qualify as artists, people who graduate as artists, don't necessarily mean that they have a guaranteed job as artists. As a matter of fact, most of our artists in Malta leave the university and have a day job in another subject. Most of our graduate artists are they have taken art as their second subject. Their first subject would be something completely different. It probably ties with what we call the arts in Malta, which is the language. Languages are arts. I don't know if it's the same thing here in Finland. So if a person, for example, qualifies in English or in Maltese or in French or whatever it is, they would graduate in art as well as a side subject. But they will, most of the graduates will need some form of assured job to be able to be able to feed their artistic talent, because I don't know about here in Finland, but Malta being an island, everything is very, very expensive, because obviously things have to be shipped, even if you buy them from other countries other than Europe. But because of that, you find that the artist needs to have a kind of day job to be able to fund the artistic side. Apart from that, it is also very difficult for an artist in Malta to make a name, because Malta is small, and although we are in the European Union, I mean, the size of Finland, the size of Germany, the size of Holland, Greece, wherever, is so much bigger than the size of Malta, that, oh yes, you're an artist from Malta, okay. And it kind of stops there. The advantageous side of our country is that it is very, very touristic. We have very long summers, and that is where the artist starts thriving, starts working very hard to be able to expose his or her talents in the long summer period, because we like to make a lot of events tied with art. Music is a form of art as well, so tied with art and festivals. We like to exhibit our work. There are many institutions now that create this like podium, so for us to be able to exhibit our work. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to become famous, not even in our own country, not even in our own selves. There are quite a few artists who venture to go abroad, to France, to Italy, to these art hubs, obviously learn a lot from there, and because exposure is very, very, very important in any aspect, not only in art. So they learn a lot from them. They try to make a name for themselves there, and then bring their knowledge over to the little island. So it's the same, very much the same in Malta as in the south, as it is in the north. The only thing I can say which has differed, I am 50 years old, so it's differed from, I was born in the 70s, and I can see a very big change from the 70s and 80s to the year 2000, that especially the last 15 to 20 years, it's with the help of the European Union and the grants that the European Union offers, artists as such, whatever sort of artist, because I find that even architectural engineers in their marvelous profession are artists as well, because of their artistic views of establishments. They manage to obtain through a lot of effort these European Union grants, and with that help, it exposes them as well to different countries and brings the knowledge back. That is a great big difference that I saw from my time to the time of my two children, for example. I have a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old, and I see that at least opportunities are by far much expanded and by far much larger today than they were some 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
So you mentioned the long summers in Malta and the advantage of tourism for artists. How is it for you? Do you actually kind of sell your artwork to tourists, or do you personally benefit from the tourism, or how do you find it?
Okay, so as such, I myself don't. Probably because I don't make much of an effort to sort of expose my art. The reason is that as I go along, as I grow older, I try to contain my art in a sort of more professional way. I have an artisan side of me where I like to make small artworks like Christmas tree decorations, like little reliefs, and I even decorate stools, for example, wooden stools with a personalized as personalized gifts. That is my artisan side, in which I will venture in the future to make use of these long summers and get into these kind of commercial side of it. The long summers as well are good because we have different exhibitions in art for people who are interested in different sides of art, and that as well makes our museums open longer and our exhibition podia to open longer as well. But I am not a well-known artist in my country, so I don't get these opportunities. I don't hate to admit. It's more that I'm kind of sort of the profile is very, very low. So, but people do, yes, artists who, especially the young ones who want to make a name for themselves, yes, they do make use of these art exhibitions. We have the Biennale coming up in 2024, the Malta Art Biennale that travels from one city to another all around Europe. It's in our case, it is backed up by Musa, and that is the Maltese company. It is a heritage art exhibit, and we are making a big deal about it, and it's really given a lot of opportunities for youngsters to for not only young artists but even older artists. I would have applied, to be quite honest, but seeing I had this residency, it was going to clash a bit too much for me because I needed to plan better. And unfortunately, I didn't take part, but I wish to take part in the next Biennale. But yes, the long summers are a very big opportunity for any artist, even myself, to take part.
What about using media? As this podcast is part of the Professional Media Presence project, and we are interested in knowing how artists use media in their professional life. And you also mentioned that having a name as an artist. Do you think that the media has a key role in having a name as artist or being present in media, showing something in media?
Yes, as much as let's say I don't like to admit, it is very important for any sort of artist to make his or her presence in the media. To start with, in social media, but then there are different areas of media as well. The reason is because we are social media. We are a social media-based race all around the world, not just in Europe. And because of that, because it's become like this, I believe that every artist should expose her or his work as professionally to start with in social media. I still am not much of a fan of social media per se, because for me personally, at the age of 50, it takes up a lot of my time. And I still have a lot to do before my time is up. And I find that this is a bit of a challenge to me. But it's the cheapest, I think it's the cheapest way of showing your presence. If you have an artistic mind and you know how to go about even your smartphone, I think it is the cheapest way to show one's presence, to exhibit one's artistic presence in the media. You can do it professionally too, because today the apps really help you to elaborate on what you want to show and enhance what you want to show as well. And I feel that had I not been out on the media, I think I've been out on the media now for about 6 years on Instagram, and mostly Instagram. I use Facebook too, but mostly Instagram. I managed to expose myself a bit more. I don't have much followership and I don't look for much followership. I would rather substantiate my clientele on the followership that I have at the moment. But I believe it is an important part. And then obviously there are other podia which need to be explored to professionalize one's media presence too.
Do you plan your media presence? Do you kind of have a strategy for how to be present in media, when to do something to show at Instagram, or is it more or less from day to day something that's nice to discover that you want to share, or how do you do it?
So you might find it funny, but I have a 2:00 calendar appointment on my phone that comes up with a very sweet chime and tells me, hey, you got to schedule a post. And that means that it's my time to spend. I try to spend not more than 20 minutes to make my posts on Instagram and on Facebook. And I use TikTok sometimes as well, though I'm not much of a TikTok. I am not an expert in any of the three podia, but TikTok is my least experiment, my least professional side of my experiments. because it's obviously more garnered for the younger generation. But yes, I do schedule a daily post or reel or story, depending on what I am doing at the time. And I try my very, very best to be religious about it and to do it because I know that it keeps my followership. I have plans for when I return to Malta to create my own website. It is very, very expensive in Malta to run your own website. When you employ other people to do it for you, it becomes extremely expensive. So I wish to do it myself. I'm not a computer guru. I was born in the 70s, so I wasn't even born in intelligence technology, but I've used it to my advantage in many phases of my life. So I think I can just manage to set up a mediocre plus website. That is my main plan for when I return to Malta in January. And then my second plan would be maybe start a YouTube channel, because I really wish that this ancient art of pyrography is explored by more people. My main enemy, let's call it, is there again computer technology, because now in today's day and age, you have these laser printing, computer-based and program-based pyrographies in inverted commas that don't really show the appreciation of the real pyrographer. So I really wish to start up a YouTube channel as a kind of tutorial, which would be different to the other tutorials. There are a handful, literally. You can count them on one hand, the YouTube channels that there are for tutorials of pyrography. I wish to work on it in a different way. So that would be my second on the list of my plan when I return to Malta.
And who do you think, you mentioned your followers in Instagram, do you think they are peers, people who also would like to do pyrography, or are they more or less your customers or people interested in pyrography, or how do you find them?
The followership is mainly based on people who may have stumbled into pyrography, on the feed, and saw, because looking at a person's work it's very much like painting and shading and sketching. It's therapeutic in its way. So when you stumble on it, that is how I, to be fair, stumbled on my art. You find it is so beautifully therapeutic, because it takes shape in front of you as you go along. So most followership probably came from there. I have a few who are my clients, and who happened to stumble into my work and said, "Oh, that's a good idea," because I do a lot of personalization artwork, as I said, on the craft side of my business. Others, obviously, when you have a big family, you get a lot of people who like your page because you are a big family, but that has expanded into people who are interested in your page as an artist or an artisan, and maybe even to commission work. I've had, I think, 4 commissions so far through my Instagram page, which isn't a lot, but for me, being the person that I am, I'm always very, very positive in life. I always say better that than none at all. So, and there are people who I've had followers as well who are interested to learn as well about this art. That is one of the reasons why I wish to start up a YouTube channel, in fact.
And now we are about to finish this discussion. And for the last, I would like to know if there is an experience or a wisdom for other artists that you could share, something that you would have liked to know earlier in your career.
So as I mentioned before, my artistic talent was shut down by a very uncouth artist. What do you call it? Not quotation. A very uncouth artist saying. By the way, the artist said what the artist thought about me and about my work. And being young, I thought that I was not good enough. But today, and looking back, my wisdom on that fact is that deep down in your heart, you know whether you are good or not. Art is, it's not like a qualification. You are an artist inside you. You are an artist in your heart and as well in your mind, but it starts from your heart. Even the way you design a curve and you make a straight line, or the way you start to do a face, to create a face, to draw a face, you know that you are good at it. So don't let anybody around you ever tell you, but that is not good enough. If the person around you is uncouth in the way that he or she is trying to describe your work, don't let it affect you, because it can mar your future. I let it affect me, and I discovered my artistic self. I confirmed that I was an artist when I was 40. I'm not crying about it. I'm not upset about it, but I do admit that I've lost 30 years. And I don't want that on any budding artist, whether that budding artist is 5 years old or 50 years old. Don't ever, ever doubt your heart in your artistic self. You don't need, it's good to have a qualification. It is good to graduate in art because you are showing the world that you know your stuff. But don't let it ever make you doubt that you don't have that whether you have that artistic tendency or not. Because if it is there, and if from your heart it's coming out from your hand, even if it's just pottery, not just pottery, even if it is ceramics, because we're talking about me here, pyrography, but art is so vast and so big and so beautiful. Whatever you are artistically inclined to do, don't let anybody around you shoot it down. That is my piece of advice.
Thank you, Karen. Now we finished with these wise words, and thank Karen Briffa from Malta. And we wish you the very best in the future with your artworks and artistic career.
Thank you, Mila, for having me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. The Professional Media Presence project is co-funded by the Creative Europe program of the European Union. Make sure to follow the updates on our social media, Instagram and Facebook, and visit our website pmpproject.eu. Stay tuned for more episodes.